Hello, leaders, and welcome to day 14 of our Mia Speaks Lead Well and Thrive Mental Wellness Challenge for new people leaders. We are ending our second week. Yes, this is a 31-day challenge. So today's setup will be slightly different. I encourage you to grab a sheet of paper and pen or pencil, or if you're like me, sometimes I use the notes in my phone and I put in whatever information I'm typing or saving. I have folders, I have everything. However, after each question is posed to you, pause the video and respond accordingly. In today's session, we're going to discuss some key areas around emotional intelligence and the science behind the activities that we're asked to do. Today's session is also special because we want to acknowledge and celebrate your growth, especially if you've been putting the work in. I was about to say getting a little skin in the game with these activities that we have been providing you. So let's get into it for today. Leadership isn't just about skill. It's about emotional growth. It's about how we handle setbacks, process emotions, and evolve through challenges. So here's our first pointer around psychology around that statement. Every time we reflect, we activate the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for decision making, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. That's actually the difference between reacting and responding, taking time to actually think. And today, we're not just looking back, we're recognizing our growth mindset. So how do we measure our growth mindset? We go back to forward. So I want you to take a deep breath and just let all that sink in. Next, let's talk about processing emotional growth. So think back to day one. How did you feel starting this challenge? Now think about today. What's different about your mindset? I want you to write down your reflections, and here are a few questions. What emotional shifts have I noticed? How do I respond to challenges differently? What moments made me rethink my approach? All right, so here's time for some psychology insight behind this activity. The brain's hippocampus, linked to memory, helps us attach meaning to past emotions. That's why reflection helps us reframe struggles, not as failures, but as stepping stones to wisdom. What are we telling our brain? What are we telling ourselves? So drop a reflection in the chat or note it for yourself. It's all about deepening your self-awareness. Let's do this next activity called the Mirror of Growth. This one is a guided visualization. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment if you're in a safe space to do so. And I want you to go back and imagine yourself on day one. You may have been uncertain, eager, maybe even doubtful. Who is this lady talking about emotional well-being and leadership? Now picture yourself today, stronger, wiser, more aware. What's shifted? What emotions are present? From a psychology insight perspective, when we visualize change, we activate neural pathways linked to self-confidence. The brain strengthens belief systems through repetition, meaning the more we acknowledge growth, the more we reinforce it. So write down 3 words that describe your transformation. And if you like, drop them in the chat. I have a special Me Work assignment for you today. And this assignment is to write a letter to your past self. What encouragement would you offer? What would you say to the version of you who was unsure? I want you to know why reflection strengthens leadership. Emotional reflection isn't just personal, it's scientific. So there are 4 different components of that. Number 1 is self-awareness and resilience. strengthens decision making and emotional regulation. Number 2, memory and meaning making, shapes identity and leadership confidence. 3, reframing struggles, which helps to shift our perspective, turning setbacks into stepping stones. And my favorite, empathy and connections. It strengthens leadership authenticity and the psychology insight behind that. All this states that the brain's amygdala, responsible for emotional responses, can trigger reactive stress, but reflection shifts control to the prefrontal cortex, creating thoughtful leadership instead of impulsive reactions. When you take time to reflect, you don't just learn, you evolve. All right, so here's some actionable steps for your next steps. Growth isn't loud, it's often in the quiet shifts, the steady mindset, the deeper self-awareness. So for our final challenge, what's one habit or mindset shift you'll commit to today as we continue through this challenge over the next 15, 16 days? And this will also help keep you growing. Write it down or drop it in the chat. This commitment keeps the momentum alive. What are you committing to you? Of course, there is psychology insight behind this final challenge. Leaders who write down commitments reinforce them in the brain, making it far more likely they'll follow through. Small shifts like practicing gratitude, reframing challenges, or pausing before reacting lead to transformational leadership. And that's what we're all about, right? Making those changes. In my closing message for today, I want you to know that you've done incredible work. Growth is a journey, not a destination. So give yourself credit for every single steps. Congratulations on completing week 2. I'm so excited about that myself as creating all this content for you. But congratulations for completing week 2 of the Mia Speaks, Lead Well, and Thrive Challenge for new leaders from Mental Health Awareness Month. For our 3rd week, we'll focus on balancing leadership and life. I truly believe that our lives shouldn't be entirely consumed by work. Work. Okay. When we talk about overall wellness, it's important to remember there are 7 other essential components of our well-being that deserve our attention too. So next week, I'll be sharing practical tips, strategies, and insights to help you create a balanced life where work and personal wellness live in harmony. If today's session resonated with you, I'm inviting you to spread the word. Think of a leader in your circle who could benefit from a holistic approach like ours, and share our journey with them. Together we grow stronger. Let's continue to lead well and thrive together. Thank you so much for joining, and not only joining, but showing up. Thank you for showing up, for doing this work, and for leading with your heart. Keep thriving, and don't forget, take 5 minutes of self-care just for you. See you on the next one.